Hello and welcome to the Talking Football podcast with me, Jacob Cullip.
Me, Mars Reese.
And me, Cam Reader.
Yeah, we have a special guest today. We did promise that last time.
Yeah, we've promised for the last 2 months, so we finally did it. Yeah,
It's finally here.
panel.
Finally here.
There we go.
So, the wait is over. Thomas Tuchel is the new England manager. In his opening statement, the CEO of the FA said, "We just want the right person for the job. We owe it to the nation and the players to do that. We feel we have done that. We are delighted that Thomas has joined us." What do you think of that, lads?
I mean, it's a very interesting appointment. One that caught me by surprise yesterday. I'm not going to lie. There wasn't a lot of reports that I saw anyway in regards to it coming up, but I'm happy, mate. To be honest with you, I'm happy in general. I think there's a few things that we'll discuss that I'm a bit unsure of, but generally, I feel like we got the best man for the job there. What about you, Jacob, mate? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm very happy. What I said in the first podcast quite a long time ago now, said I didn't want, you want that winner, and he's definitely a winner. You can't argue with that with his record in finals. I think it's 8 wins, 5 losses, I believe that I heard.
Good stat. Yeah, I've no idea, so I'll back you on that.
And obviously,
Yeah,
his infamous losses to Liverpool 2 years ago. Obviously, that probably did ruin the record a little bit, but no, I'm quite happy. Obviously, it wasn't my first choice. I think we all knew who the dream choice was, but I don't think that was going to happen in a million years. But
Yeah,
no,
so-
I'm very happy.
Pep Guardiola would have been something else, wouldn't he? But
Absolutely.
that's living the dream.
Yeah, I think the internet would have exploded that day if we got a Guardiola. Wouldn't have recovered. But no, it's good point. What's everyone's thoughts on? I see a lot of people moaning, maybe, and I don't know if we use the word being a bit xenophobic. Is it about his race?
No, it is. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, let's say it straight.
Yeah,
let's say it straight.
Say it straight.
Yeah, it's a bit xenophobic about his race and him being German as an England manager. I personally don't really have a problem with that in itself. I have a problem with something else as a result of it, but not German people themselves, and not Tuchel personally, or anyone that's not a foreign manager for England. I don't mind it personally, but is everyone on the same boat?
Yeah, there's been a bit of controversy around him not wanting to sing the national anthem, which
Classic.
I find interesting. He hasn't decided yet whether he will or not. He said he's very passionate about the country, which is, as you would say, but whether that's going to turn people off him, I've got no idea.
But then, to be fair, no, mate, Lee Carsley not singing it in English, so we can't really judge Thomas if he doesn't want to do it.
That's very true. That's very true. At least he's got head of hair as well, which Lee Carsley can't say much about.
Always helps.
I can't go that far.
Well, I was going to rinse there, but I was like, nah.
I can't go that far.
I don't want to insult Jacob.
It's only my debut. I can't go that far. I'll be kicked off.
Few more years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we World Cup, mate, you'll have no hair.
There we go.
Got that out of the system. Wow.
We can't sing that certain song anymore either.
What's a certain song? Would you enlighten me on that?
It's a certain number of planes that are in the sky.
Ah, right. I was like, what's the hair song?
Yeah, not the hair song. Definitely not.
No. Yeah, no, I don't like that song personally.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Just get over it. It's a long time ago. But no, I think the main issue I've got with the fact that we're going for a foreign manager isn't the foreign manager in itself. I think it's just sad that we have no one available of an English descent that's good enough for the job.
Eddie Howe?
As a country Eddie Howe's really the only one that's close enough to being good enough. But I think as a country that prides itself on our football, we're one of the biggest footballing nations. We've got the best league in the world, probably. But we can't produce a single manager that's available to take a job. Like, I think that's just not really, like, English coaches have never been any good, have they, really? We've never won the Premier League with an English coach.
No.
It's just only really Potter and Howe are worth considering, and neither of those they've not got great CVs, never won anything of any note. So I think it's more just sad in terms of the English game rather than particularly like the fact that he's foreign.
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement there. It's a shame that I was thinking we've got such talented England players, and yet there's no manager to follow up with that. What's happened? Something's gone wrong with the FA in terms of that. I mean, you've got young talent coming through now for players, but where's the managers with that? It just doesn't seem to be the case.
No, it's not balanced well enough, is it? I think there was a stat as well about the amount of UEFA A licensed coaches, and it's something like triple that in Spain compared to what we've got in England, which shows development that we don't put in towards our managers. So yeah, it's pretty sad for the game, but generally happy with the appointment though.
But don't you think that's something with our culture as well? Do you think because of the quote unquote English game? Say, because obviously the style of play in Spain, obviously the influence of Pep and all that. I think that's also one thing, main things we said with the Games Gone episode. We said I think people are so ingrained in the style of play now. I think English managers are known for the versatility. Obviously, like your Sam Allardyces, your Sean Dyches, but I think because that's what people think about English football is all the rough, tough tackling. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's
4-4-2 shithouse midfield.
Yeah, exactly. Pump it long, route one stuff.
Yeah, but that's what people think, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think it's important to an extent to have a good style of play, because at the end of the day, but football is not just a sport in regards to getting results. Obviously, that's the main part of it, but it was also a business. You need to make sure you entertain your fans. But primarily, I don't really care if we win every game 1-0 as long as we win the tournaments. I can't really care less.
Well, we nearly did it the odd way.
So true.
Yeah.
But I think it's a clear message of which we'll move on to now is the tactical tweaks. I think you look at what Gareth Southgate was, and he was a defensive-minded manager. Let's just put that straight.
Very pragmatic.
Very pragmatic. Very sit back. Let's just park the bus essentially.
Yeah.
And what I've read from Thomas Tuchel is that he's very much the opposite. Is high pressing, trying to get the ball off opponents, and I think we need to see more of that from England because we have the players to do it, and every other team we play against seems to do it, and we don't replicate that. It's a shame.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. No,
I agree with that. I admire Tuchel. Was it from afar? So I remember watching his Chelsea side. Was it 3 years ago? Like this time 3 years ago, when they were riding high before the whole takeover incident, they were doing really well. They were top of the league at certain points during the start of that season, but winning like 7-0 against Norwich and all that. But and that is like a prime example game. If you want to watch a Tuchel ball game, I'd advise to watch that game because it's the perfect. I know it's against a lesser opponent, but it's probably the perfect game to watch.
Yeah. The thing I love about Tuchel is his tactical flexibility, I'd say as well. Like when he was at Chelsea, especially, I remember he wasn't afraid to change from a 3 at the back to a 4 at the back. And I think that's really important in tournament football because you're not going to be able to play the same way all the time. I hate coaches nowadays that are so stubborn with their methods and they won't change it to suit an opponent. Like sometimes you need to be able to have more of the ball, break a team down that's going to sit back, like when we played Slovakia, wasn't it, against England?
Yeah.
Back until we couldn't deal with it. It needed a moment of magic from Bellingham to save us. And equally, you're going to have times when you have to sit in and defend, like against the Spaniards when they have a lot of the ball. And you're going to need to be hard to break down, keep those gaps, tight essentially. And I think we've definitely got the players to do that. I mean, and I just think it's really promising in terms of the fact he's not going to be rigid and stick with the same system. Hopefully, personnel-wise, he does look on form rather than the favourites, which I think a lot of people had issues with Southgate for.
That's the top of my agenda.
Yeah, mate, you take that away then if you'd like to.
But as I've said many times on here and to you, I wasn't a fan of Gareth Southgate. I really wasn't. And one of the things he said when going into that job, they said he'll pick players based on form. But after probably Euro 21, that was completely gone. We had too much faith in, you can't say he never let them down, but so much faith in Maguire and Stones and players like those. But obviously never letting England down. And obviously Jordan Pickford's never let England down. But you're just thinking, you're like, well, is it the best that we can offer in these games? Can we, rely on these players? Well, obviously Harry Kane is the big question mark, and that was in the press conference today. Will he still be the captain? Has Tuchel spoke to Kane and he said he hasn't? But obviously that will be the last chance saloon, which I was said to you yesterday when he was appointed. It'll be the last chance saloon for some of these players, like your John Stones, your Harry Kanes, your Kyle Walkers. It will be the last chance saloon. So that's probably why he's been given an 18-month contract.
Yeah, it makes sense as well, just considering that World Cup ends at the end of his contract, I assume. So yeah, we go from there.
This is the interesting point, Jacob. I think from what you said is, I think by the sounds of it, Tuchel's more of a data-driven guy. I mean, I don't want to get too much onto that side.
Don't say the dreaded word.
Don't say it.
Flashbacks.
But you'd like to think, from what I've seen on that he will pick players more in form. Maybe we'll see some players that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, dare I say it, Reece James. Maybe get back in there.
Yeah.
Ben Chilwell. I mean, they did so well under him that I think anything's open at this point.
Yeah.
Mason
Obviously,
Mount. They need to start playing first team. Mason Mount. Oh my gosh.
Bring back Mason Mount.
That would be. Oh, wow.
Luckily, if he lasts 2 games.
Is he on the form though?
Yeah.
No, that's just based on. No, that'll be the Gareth Southgate thing if that ever did happen.
He gets Mount back. That's it.
Mount back, we riot. But
yeah. Couldn't blame you, mate. He's been terrible under Ten Hag, isn't he? So,
well, we've barely played 2 games.
Yeah, it's true. He can't get consistency.
I think when I've seen him play 2 games.
Yeah, mate. But then to be fair though, because from what I've seen from Tuchel, he likes playing the 2 number 10s in his systems, which I think suits us quite a lot because you've got a lot of players that can play that role. Bellingham, Foden, Palmer, maybe even Mount. Different players you think are progressive on the ball.
I still have a problem with that though.
What's the problem?
I think we saw in the Euros that Bellingham and Foden can't play together. I
think Foden can't play for England, mate. I think he gets a mental block.
Just put him in a Man City shirt and hopefully he'll turn up.
Yeah. Maybe we'll change the kit colour for him.
Oh, please not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I do agree. You've got to drop someone somewhere, though. You can't have Saka, Palmer, Foden and Bellingham in the same team, really.
No, that was a shambles.
It's too much good talent for our lives. But it's interesting. He's played a 4-2-3-1 for Bayern at the end, which is what we currently have for England. Whether he's going to stick with that, who knows? But
I think he will.
It seems to be working wonders for us. Do you think he's still going to play young players, or do you think he's opposed to that? I'm talking the likes of Kobe Mainoo, for instance.
When you've got to get a blend really in tournament football, haven't you? You can't win anything with kids, especially for England. But equally, you want to make sure that players you're picking are good enough for the job. And the likes of Kyle Walker, I just feel like, I don't see how he gets back in the team now. I think he's not done.
He hasn't been playing a lot for City either, has he?
No, I don't want to say someone's finished, but at the end of the day, I think Pep and Lee Carsey recently have seen that Trent Alexander-Arnold and Rico Lewis has offered so much more to the team than what Kyle Walker can do. And he's not saying he's a bad player, but he's 32, 33 now, Kyle Walker. Yeah. He's getting on. So it's understandable if he does, not go for some experienced players like that. But you still got I imagine he'll still play Harry Kane for next World Cup. He did so well under him for Bayern Munich, didn't he?
Well, that's a debate, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think see how he gets on. Because if you get the goal scoring form from Kane that he got at Bayern Munich, I think he got something like 1 goal a game in the league and all comps.
I still don't think that was his best season though. When they were all saying on Sky Sports earlier when I was watching, it's Harry Kane's best season. Yeah, on stats, but it's not the Kane that we saw in 2015, 16 or 17. Not a hope in hell's chance. Because Harry Kane used to create chances for himself. Like I was watching, it was a brilliant clip on Twitter. I need to find it. I'll probably send it. But it was just like Harry Kane in 2015, 16, 17. He never had a lot of pace, but he'll just create something himself. Like now he'll come so deep, he might as well be Rodri. But you see him I know it's like 8 years ago now, but he was just brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant at just creating something for himself. Like the prime goal when I'm thinking in my head is against Everton, where he just picked it up and bang, slotted it in the corner. It's like I know with age and with more physicality with the injuries, that's not going to happen anymore. But I think someone needs to tell him to be that fox in the box. Yeah,
I'm not sure what he wants to do anymore. And go back to what Cam said about the high press. Can Harry Kane high press? Probably not.
No.
He's got legs in him. It's got to be Watkins, isn't it? Or Solanke. Solanke carries on his scheme.
That's why many people are already in the Kane out group. I'm certainly erring on towards that. I think he does a lot for us, but looking at the last few tournaments, his work off the ball
awful in the Euros.
He was awful at the World Cup.
Yeah, that's true.
And considering the strike force we have out there, is it time to potentially move on?
Yeah, I feel like it depends what you want, really. I think
towards that.
Yeah, I think for the World Cup, you definitely take Kane. There's no way you don't take Kane.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But whether you start every game, the thing I hate though is about England at the moment and in general throughout the years is the bias towards the big six clubs. Like it just does my head in now that Dom Solanke gets in the squad and he played his best football for Bournemouth. But oh no, because his shirt isn't right the big six clubs, you don't get picked. I just think like you look at the squad now, realistically, other than what Eze, Jared Bowen, that's about it, really, isn't it?
It happened the exact. Yeah, so sorry, but it happened the exact same thing in the Euros in 21 with Sancho. Before Dortmund, he was not getting a look in an England shirt. Suddenly moves to us. I know that didn't end up well, but moves to us and suddenly gets an England call up.
Yeah, I just hope Tuchel doesn't check the colour of the badge rather than the actual player's ability. Would be nice. Be a refreshing change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I will leave you to it, lads. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Brief stint, but enjoy it nonetheless.
Quick cameo.
Quick cameo. Quick cameo. Couldn't last any more time. Yeah. Right, take care.
Right, see you later.
Deliver it.
All right, see you later, mate. Take care.
See ya.
Wait for him.
Yeah. It was a brilliant cameo there.
Yeah, good nice cameo from Cam there.
Yeah, like a prime Ollie substitute that.
I know, yeah. No, we'll still appearance. We'll get him back on at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get small people on as well.
100%. Yeah, if you'd like to join the podcast, if you're listening, drop us a DM. I know Bob wants to come on at some point, so
absolutely.
We'll get Mr. Randall on for his opinions.
We'll get like a Borough podcast as well, or not?
Yeah, we could just do like a Borough special one time, I think.
Yeah, well, I think we should.
Yeah, get Borough special. We'll get Bob on for it. I like that. Well, I'll let him know later. It's news to him, so.
But no, we're England, obviously the big talking point. So I think we've done quite a lot on that, to be honest.
In terms of England, yeah, I think I wanted to touch on really, mate, is the other candidates we could have gone for potentially, and how we're going to fare going forward. I think a lot of people are saying that Tuchel is the best man for the job that's available, and I definitely agree with that. But is anyone else you would have considered sort of close enough to?
Obviously, I mentioned my prime dream candidate. I don't think it was ever going to happen anyway. But if he was going to leave Manchester City, which obviously I haven't heard a lot of concrete talks. They're talking, but it's not like dead on that he's talking about a contract with Pep Guardiola. Well, there is talks about because the sporting director has now moved to Manchester City after City's technical director moving. So there's talk of Amorim from Sporting Lisbon moving there next season. So obviously Amorim would never join England, but obviously if I had to pick an English manager, it would be Eddie Howe. But you're not going to move him from Newcastle unless he gets sacked or he leaves. And are we going to wait? It was the same with Pep. Are we really going to wait that long to pick a manager? Then we only have literally a year between that and the World Cup. Is it enough time with the players?
Yeah, it's quite short notice, isn't it? But I think a year is enough, because a year's long. That's a fair long time, especially for someone like Guardiola to work his magic. And the quality of the squad's definitely there. I saw someone on Twitter say that in the next 5 years we'll be spoiled for choice of managers. And whilst I'd like to think that's the case, because
I completely disagree.
I'm going to get onto that. Yeah, it's like McKenna and Carrick and those sort of names.
But so we're putting unnecessary pressure on. I'm sorry, but I think we're putting unnecessary pressure on them, because McKenna's that's his first job. It's the same as Howe. Remember when after 2016 there's talks of Eddie Howe to potentially go. That was his first real job was Bournemouth. Yeah. And so his first attempt after his first season with Bournemouth when they just stayed up. But it's the same with Carrick as well, because Carrick's first job, I know he's in the coaching staff, same as McKenna with Volley, but it's his first real job with Middlesbrough. I think it's the same with anything. I know we're putting so much pressure on Tuchel already, and there's already talks about his private life. It's the exact same thing that happened with Sven. So, but when they never did, I know it was different, but they never did that with Southgate. They never touched anything in this 8 years with England. But as soon as like someone new comes in that the media might not like, they'll go straight after him. And I just think they'll do that with McKenna and Carrick as well.
Well, the media had issues with Tuchel before, just because I think with Tuchel, I don't think he's got a problem with the media per se. I think he just has a problem with journalists that want to probe and put him into the wrong light,
Well,
which is fair enough.
we're gonna say who doesn't have a problem
Yeah,
with that.
exactly. Yeah, you can't be like a PR machine, can you? You got to be
And
human or something.
that was the one thing that Gareth was good at, was the PR machine.
Oh yeah, he was certainly good at that, wasn't he? He was certainly good at that. Yeah, it sounds like the McKenna and McCarrick, etc. We were saying this a few years ago, Lampard and Gerrard, etc., saying that they're the next big upcoming coaches. Like Gerrard obviously did well at Rangers, and at that time, 2021?
Yeah,
You know,
just
Lampard
winning the league.
Decent. Yeah, he won the league, Gerrard, and then Lampard had a good stint at Chelsea initially, got in top four with no like transfers, youth players, etc. It looked promising, didn't it? And he did well at Derby, of course. So who's to say in the next 5 years you won't be saying the same things again about McKenna and Carrick, that they've not performed?
But as you were alluding to earlier, I don't think we should just give the job based on your passport. We can't just go, oh, in Englishman, we might as well get John down the road. Oh, he's English. He's coached the under 15s. Oh, let's put him in the England job. But it needs to be qualified. The aim, obviously, and they've said in the press conference today, the aim is to win the World Cup. I haven't heard the FA say that in a hell of a long time. So fair play for saying it.
Well, yeah.
And they know, with the past performances in these tournaments, bar the 2022 World Cup when we got knocked out in the quarterfinals, that we've been getting to semi-finals, finals, that we need to finally deliver, because this, as I said, it's the last chance for some of these players.
Yeah, so I think with the expectation to win the World Cup, and I think that's ultimately Tuchel's job now, is to take us to the next step, and the next step is to win a tournament after getting to the final twice. But at the same time, I feel like we've got to be realistic here. Like,
absolutely.
If he goes to the World Cup and wins it, obviously everyone would be buzzing. It'd be a great achievement. If he gets to semi-finals first tournament, I'm not going to moan.
No.
If he gets to semi-finals, I think that's completely fine. Because at the end of the day, every single other country, like your likes of Spain's, Portugal, etc., they're not going to lie down because we've got a new manager. They're still going to be competitive. It's very hard to win a World Cup, hence why we haven't done so in 50 years.
It'll be 60 years by the time.
Exactly, yeah, 60 years coming up. So I think if we get, semi-finals, or even show good signs of promise and maybe lose to like the winners in the quarters, you've got to take context into account here. If we say like we get an easy draw again, which we've been very lucky with in the recent tournaments, I think sort of put some rose-tinted opinions on Southgate's reign. And I'm a big fan of Southgate, but I think we have had an easy run of a draw in many a tournament.
You couldn't even believe the luck sometimes.
Yeah, and being undone at the first hurdle playing anyone any decent. But yeah, in terms of the draw, say like Tuchel, gets knocked out by a Croatia in the semi-final, or I don't know, maybe some team like, I can't think of a name now, but Hungary beat us in the semi-final, for example. Yeah, that'll be a failure. But if we lose to like Argentina and they win the whole thing, then it's probably not a failure. So you can't really judge it. You can't say, oh, you got to get this, otherwise you're a failure. That's just not how it is. And like, say you got to the final, for example, we were 2-0 up, and then they got a red card and we lost. That's a disgrace. It's, you know what I mean? We'll just have to see how it goes. What I'm trying to say is, don't expect them to win a tournament on the first time of our season.
No.
That's impossible.
We can't. The same people were saying, "Oh, we just got to be an Englishman" and all that. I was the same people that are saying expecting us to win a World Cup. We haven't won anything in 60 years. You can't expect us to win things. So you can't expect the manager to be English. You say the people who say that, they just expect us to win absolutely everything. You can say they've got to put context into everything. The reason we're going for this type of manager is that we haven't won anything. Perhaps for the next one, perhaps in a few years' time when Tuchel leaves, eventually there might be a manager, an Eddie Howe who's going to maybe continue at Newcastle, go on to a bigger job. Then we'd go, right, Eddie's ready. Are you ready, Eddie? And all that. Throw that in there. But say, come on, Eddie, join the England gravy boat. We're going to, sail this boat together. We're going to, win another World Cup or the Euros. That will be the next goal. If you do win the World Cup, then right, let's dominate, Europe with the country. So and that'll be the thing. But then obviously if Tuchel wins World Cup, then he's probably going to have the Euros anyway. But it is about that next few years. I think that's also the context that nobody's talking about in these 18 months. If Tuchel doesn't work out, behind the scenes, we do need to be working with our coaches in the FA to get better managers, but we can't just have, an English manager who's not, not ready. We can't do that. We can't afford to. We did that for 8 years, and look where I know the progression that it did, but we didn't get there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with everything you said there, mate. You can't chuck someone into a job that's just not ready for it. It's not fair on their career because, I think Eddie Howe at Newcastle, he's nowhere near got where to Newcastle want at that point. So what's the point in chucking him out early?
Well, so to be fair to him on that, they've not had the same was what they've spent money. Yeah, you can't say they haven't, but it's not to the same degree that City were doing it when they first went in. So you have to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt with that, but he's still done a relatively good job. They were unlucky with not getting Europe last year with injuries that we've mentioned, and also us winning the FA Cup. But it is what it is, and you've just got to move on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think with Newcastle though, he's got Eddie Howe to get the England job. He's got to be proving himself in the Champions League year in, year out at least. No, I'm not saying he should win the league because that's very hard to do. I feel like if he's winning, maybe an EFL Cup, an FA Cup, and getting competitive in Europe, I feel like that's the point where if he was wanting to take the jump, we'd be happy to take him on. And I feel like at the moment, it's just way, way too early. I mean, to even think we're considering back in 2016 when he just got Bournemouth promoted is insane.
Yeah, it's weird that.
But that just shows you how desperate our country is in terms of forcing this manager through that's got potential. That's most people, like the English manager or the German manager or the French, etc. That's like the pinnacle of their career. It's one of the best jobs they'll take. And to give it to anyone,
it's the most paid job, international job.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably one of the highest pressure ones as well. To give someone that's not ready and hasn't had those jobs to learn and make mistakes, it's just unfair on them and unfair on us as a country and the players because it's not going to end well, is it?
Oh no. So surely the players. It's the same with I know the players can't have major say because if you give the players too much power, they're gonna overthrow everything. But surely they must be looking at those candidates and just going, really, especially Chelsea players are in there. They're like, really, Potter, they didn't get the best out of me. And it's like with a Tuchel, you're just like, yeah, like your Reece Jameses, your Ben Chilwells, if they do come back, and hopefully they will do for England because obviously we have left back crisis, especially with Luke Shaw being out. But so hopefully they'll go right. This is my motivation for my club. Because I want to get back in because I've seen a manager now who I think can get the best out of me.
Maybe Ben White will come back into the fold. I'm not sure what the ins and outs of the situation with Southgate. But
I don't know.
His general attitude towards football is not. I'm not saying it's not the best because he's a top player and he obviously performs well for Arsenal. But in turn, I think he seems like England overtime, doesn't he? Unpaid overtime. So,
yeah, but to be fair, everyone bangs on about England, but there are some people that just don't care about the England national team.
Yeah, I think as a player, I think it's a bit strange personally. I feel like whether you care or not, that's your job, and to be able to represent your country and have the ability to do so, if you don't take advantage of that, I just feel like that's weird. Each their own. He can do what he wants. I'm not saying he should.
Oh yeah.
Be called up for England, etc., or shouldn't want to play for us because that's his choice. But I just feel like as a professional footballer that's obviously at the level to get in the team, to not want to do that. I just hope he didn't regret it when he gets to later points of his career when he retires. So maybe he'll come back in under Tuchel. We never know. I don't think he really fits the system though. And he plays the right of a back three. He can't play wing back, which is what Tuchel likes.
He's played centre back before. When he first joined Arsenal, he was put as a centre back, and he played with Gabriel.
Yeah,
but obviously the last 3 seasons, obviously he's been injured at the start of this, but the last 2 seasons he's been playing a right back and he's done brilliantly. And arguably, I put him as the best right back last season.
Yeah.
But he might come back. But obviously, with Trent, doing really well played left back the other day. We just can't put him in his natural position. No. And that's another thing as well. That's a talking point, is that we need to put players in their specialist positions. We can't be doing. Yeah. We've been doing the Lampard, Gerrard, thing for 20 years now of just trying to shoehorn, and exactly what Lee Carter did. Let's shoehorn our best players into these positions when they have no chemistry together, and they get into each other's spaces. It's just not possible. We can't let that happen again.
No, and just on Carsley as well, like that match against Greece was just a epitome of why we're going wrong as English football nation. Like when you looked at a team, you could not work out for a second who was where. I mean, I couldn't. And I'm not like some football tactician guru, but there was no strike on the pitch. And I think having a strike on the pitch is quite important in football.
So I said that to you the other day. It's like with this whole Harry Kane thing that Cam was talking about. It's like we're not allowed to replace Harry Kane. It's just Harry's the darling boy of England. His striking position is his own. It's like, oh, you can't take Harry's space. You can't do that. It's fair to say. So I feel sorry for Ollie Watkins because the man sends us to a final and then doesn't start in it and then's barely played since.
Yeah, you'd have thought if he don't start Kane, you give Watkins a chance.
Or Solanke.
Yeah, and I'd rather start Watkins. I rate Solanke, but I think it's offensive to Watkins if you start Solanke over him after what Watkins did for us in the English and also for his club.
I say he's arguably done one of the best moments for the last 60 years of this country. I know it was only a semi-final, but still that when you're drifting away and then suddenly bang that happens and you're like, oh, we're going to another final, yeah. And it's like it's those moments that you'll remember. And then the poor lad, he started well for Aston Villa and then still can't start for England.
Yeah, I'm so pleased Carsey didn't get the job though. Because you said it.
I thought they were going to do it. I still think they were going to do it, but because of that Greece result and the reaction in the media, especially his first press conference, they just knew they couldn't take that risk.
No, he didn't inspire any confidence. So, no. I think as England manager, you've got that bit of arrogance about you to some extent to know you're good enough for the job. And when he said oh, hopefully we're back to the N21s, I don't think he really believed he was at the standard that we needed to be an England manager. And he just looked, I don't want to knock him personally too much, but he didn't inspire me with any sort of enthusiasm or warmth, nothing you'd really want from a manager. Carsey just seemed like he was just sort of turning up to fill a role. And if that's what he was doing, fair enough, but he was nowhere near the standard we need to be a full-time manager.
No, absolutely not.
No.
But no, it was only a short episode today, really. It was mostly the reaction to Tuchel being the England manager, which we said we were going to do an episode, if I remember that, about England again, because we do enjoy talking about England, even though they do frustrate us beyond belief.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
Especially that final. I was so frustrated.
Yeah, I've got over the final fairly quick.
I got over in a few hours.
The first one was the most annoying one.
Yeah, I couldn't get over that for weeks.
No, I think probably was a few days. I don't know. I was with country football. I get excited for I do actually watch most England games generally. I watch all the Nations League games. I just enjoy watching football, to be honest with you. I don't really care who's playing. I'd much been more conversed North Newport Town if it was on. No, I wouldn't go that far. But if someone was watching it, I'd stick it on. I wouldn't have no problem with it. But yeah, in terms of England, I watched most England games. But I don't really celebrate goals unless it's the major tournaments. But still, everyone had that bit of hope as it went on that we were actually going to achieve something for once. So hopefully Tuchel can bring it home, as it were, in either 26, 28 or 30. I'm patient. There's no rush, Thomas. There's at some point, mate.
Oh, yeah. Well, by the time we get to 28, yeah, in 2030. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, if we have to wait that long, mate, it is what it is. We've waited all our lives so far, and we're not exactly lived that long so far. You got to think what people have been it's 50, never see anything. So,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll never know.
But there we are. Thomas Tuchel, the England manager. Put your comments down below on the clip on YouTube when it comes out, and also, like this podcast, share it about. We'll be back soon with what will probably be
Premier League Roundup.
The Premier League Roundup. It will be the Premier League Roundup of October. Sweet. We can't wait for that.
And then I think we'll probably do a Borough Roundup of some point in mid-November. Maybe we'll do something of that nature.
Yeah, we'll get Mr. Randall on there, and it'll be a great episode.
Yeah, mate. Look forward to it.
Yeah, make sure to send this about. Make sure to follow us on all the socials on TikTok and on Instagram, the Talking Football Podcast. Make sure to follow in there. And yeah, I've been Shaker Carlett. Oh, there we go.
Oh. You've lost connection. You were Jacob Cullip until you got.
You can see it. I was Jacob Cullip, and then we went, but there we are.
Yeah, you sort of stopped halfway through your sentence. And I'm Miles Reese.
And go England.
Thank you for watching.